Good evening, dear students. Thank you very much for having joined me. I think it's a pleasure to be with you again. Today is Friday, so of course I think that we are with the spirit of partying, right, and going out with our friends. But nonetheless, of course, before we do that, I think it's time for us to have some classes and to work hardly, right? As the song says, work hard, play hard, right? So let us start with the class today, okay? So as you remember, yesterday and actually all this week, we have been discussing the listening section, and we practiced yesterday. We had the opportunity to practice together. And what we did was to to have some exercises for you to practice this and to to feel, let's say, identify and familiarize with the questions and to apply everything we had learned right this week. That I think it was a lot of information, and by practicing, I think that you can compact all that information, right? So let us start today. And as I told you, what we're going to do today is to continue practicing, because we have this combination in executive English, theory and practice. And I think both of them are part of the, let's say, of the formula for you to succeed in this exam. So let me stream the class to our YouTube channel, and then we're going to start with the practice. Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Here we have it, 1508. Yes, this is it. So I'm gonna transmit. Here you have it. All right, and there you are. Okay, fantastic. So what was I mentioning? That well, as I told you, it's very important for us to understand the application of our knowledge. And now let us go and practice together. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're actually going to follow the same methodology we used last time. We're going to have this listening passages. We're going to listen to all of them. It doesn't matter if they are lectures or if they are conversations, and each of you is going to respond to one of the questions publicly. That is to say, I'm going to signal you, and then you're going to be turning on your microphone and saying, hey, that is the option B or C, or not option number one. But nonetheless, every single one of you needs to write down on paper what response you consider to be the correct one. So at the end, when we offer the feedback and we actually check out the responses and make it, of course, and reveal them to you, let's say, you're going to be able to compare your responses with the correct responses and to check out if you have been responding correctly. And also, of course, to correct the criteria you're using for responding. If you notice that maybe there is something that you are trying to apply into the question that is not actually a good manner to respond to it. All right, so let's get into that. Here we have my gush, and let's get into our simulator. Listening, writing, answer, quiz mode, answer, and answer, integrated essay, independent essay. There you are. Fantastic. Quiz mode, high explanation until the end. Answer and answer, quiz mode, high explanations until the end. Writing. No, this is listening. All right. Answer and answer. There we are. Okay, so let's go. Okay, we practice together. Here we have the first lecture. So please make sure to have your piece of paper, your pencils, and let us start listening. And please also take your notes. Okay, very important. All right, so let's go start now.
Listen to part of a lecture in a marketing class.
I'll assume everyone here has a basic idea of what viral marketing is. Can anyone give me an example of this way of advertising a product?
Viral marketing is, when you're shown an ad, but they don't tell you it's an ad.
Well, yes. What you're describing it's a form of viral marketing. Can you maybe give me a more specific example?
Well, the other day, I was reading the news online, and I read a whole article about car safety. The article focused just on one car company that was taking a lot of safety precautions. And when I got to the end of the article, it said in tiny letters that the article was sponsored by that very car company. So it wasn't really news. It was just a viral advertisement.
That is a pretty good example, Hank. Companies sometimes trick people into looking at an ad, but not knowing they're looking at an ad. Then they'll share that news with their friends, and more people will hear the company's message. This is a special kind of viral marketing called stealth marketing. But as I was saying, it's just one form. Basically, viral marketing is anything a company does to try to get people other than ad reps for the company, to get people to talk about their product. Because usually, if more people know about a product, more people will buy that product. And this sort of marketing today is more common than ever, because with the internet and mobile phones, people have more and more ways of talking to each other about the things they buy. So, viral marketing will use social media, websites, cell phone apps, and get users to talk about a product. In viral marketing, the company gets other people to do their advertising for them, basically.
Well, yeah, I use a lot of social media to talk to my friends, and companies that I like will send me messages about stuff I might want to buy. Put the messages right on my personal page, and my friends can see those messages too, and I can see what they're buying.
Right, and so you and your friends wind up promoting stuff to each other through your personal pages. Sometimes this is because companies purchase keyword-based advertisements on social media websites. Based on the words you write on your page, certain product ads will show up. Other times, companies advertise directly to everyone, encourage people to link their products to social media. Either way, this counts as viral marketing because it gets people talking to each other about what they want to buy.
So, wait. If my friend and I just choose to put up a link to a company product, even if the company didn't send anyone a message, that's still viral marketing?
Right. It's not just when the company is really proactive. Even just giving someone a way to talk about a product online counts, as long as the company succeeds and people are actually talking. So again, viral marketing can be any time where word of mouth, people communicating socially, is used to promote something. So you really don't need modern internet for viral marketing. In the 1980s, the McDonald's restaurant chain had a contest where customers could win prizes. People would get these plastic tickets with their meals, and they could redeem them for discounts, free drinks, even cash sometimes. The promotion included some traditional advertising, TV spots, newspaper ads, and such, but it was largely a word-of-mouth viral campaign. The contest really promoted itself the most by just getting people very excited. They started talking to each other about the McDonald's contests and going into McDonald's to buy tickets and compare their winnings. Contests and giveaways are probably the most common form of viral marketing, actually, and one of the oldest. People always get excited about contests, and excitement gets people talking. And when someone wins a lot of money from a company, or the company gives money to a charity or something, that'll make the news. So you see, sometimes in viral marketing, a news story about a company isn't planted. Really good viral marketing campaigns give the media honest reasons to talk about a company and even promote it.
Fantastic. There we are. Very interesting lecture, right? On marketing. Stuff like that's always very, I think, in my opinion, very entertaining to listen about. All right, fantastic. So let's go to next and let's go with the questions. So let me here activate our chronometer. It always makes for me it's very funny to see that title. Right, fantastic. So let's go. The first person who is going to respond to this question will be Guadalupe. Okay. So please, Guadalupe, be ready and start reading and responding. But nonetheless, all of you start writing down on your paper what the response is for your own person. And then we're going to be reviewing the correct responses as you go about comparing them with yours. Okay. So please start reading and responding now. All right, there you are. Guadalupe, do you know what the correct response is?
The second one.
All right, the second one, fantastic. Let's get into the second question. All right, this is going to be for Paulina. So please, Paulina, start reading and responding now. Paulina, do you have
Number 4.
all right, fantastic, number 4. Thank you very much. Let's go with next. What can be inferred about how the internet has affected viral marketing? So I wrote, okay, here. Lucia, this is yours, okay? So please. There you are. Lucia, please, do you have a correct response here?
1.
Right, number 1. All right, so Camila sent a message to my personal chat and she says that she's on the university. So if she's in the university, of course, she cannot speak aloud. So let's go with Guadalupe again, all right? And let's go with this question. There you are. Guadalupe?
Number 2 and 3.
Number 2 and 3. Fantastic. Thank you. Let's go with the last question. Paulina, this is going to be yours again. All right, let's go. There you are. So, Lucia?
Oh.
Oh, no, Paulina, right? I'm sorry, Paulina.
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there you are. Fantastic. Oh, there is one more question for this one. So, Lucia, this will be yours, okay? But in order to respond this one, we have to listen to a recording of the listening passage one more time. So let's go.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
Viral marketing is, when you're shown an ad, but they don't tell you it's an ad.
Well, yes. What you're describing it's a form of viral marketing. Can you maybe give me a more specific example?
Why does the professor say this?
Well, yes. What you're describing it's a form of viral marketing.
All right, there you are. So why does the professor say this? And here you start please responding.
So fresh, which is so clean.
There you are. Lucia?
Number 3.
Number 3, fantastic. There you are. All right, now we have finished. So let us go and check out your responses and let us see if you have actually managed to respond correctly. All right, we're going to go to the first question and see the responses. All right, there we are. So what is the main purpose of the lecture? What is the main purpose of the lecture? And the correct response here, you got it pretty well, was the second one, to explore the various forms of a type of marketing can take, or a type of marketing can take. And of course, this type of marketing is viral marketing, right? So to explore the various forms a type of marketing can take was exactly the main idea. And let me remind you why. The main idea is that particular concept, subject, point that unifies the information. That is to say, that makes it a whole, that gives it unity. Because when you, let's say, imagine that you have just information that is unrelated, that is unconnected. Would that be a passage? No, right? If you just say, I like bananas, Hitler died in 1945. There is a chimpanzee in my house. I mean, that wouldn't make sense, right? But when you have a central idea, right, that unifies the entire phrases you're saying, that is what makes it a unity. And that is the central idea. That is the main idea or the main purpose of something. That idea, subject, or that particular principle that connects everything. And here, what connects all the information and data, what makes it a whole, lo que lo hace un todo, is exactly that, is that the lecture was about how this type of marketing can take different forms, right? As the professor talked about in the entire lecture. Fantastic. And the other ones, for example, to elaborate on the costs of viral marketing was just a very, very tiny mention of the lecture and was actually non-existent, almost non-existent. So it was, of course, not the main point, or to explain how stealth marketing worked was not actually true, right? Because stealth marketing is just a little part of the lecture, how this works, etc., to make a comparison with a stealth marketing with viral marketing. So it cannot be, of course, the correct response because it doesn't make all the phrases and information a whole. It doesn't frame anything, but it's just part of the, let's say, of the information that is filled within the particular discussion. Let's go next. What is the one, or what is one of the main goals of viral marketing? And here you also got it correctly. And this is a detailed type of question. That is to say, it's a question that basically tells you well, now that you have listened to this lecture, tell me what it says, right? It basically asks, what does the passage say about a particular topic? And in this case, that particular topic is, what is one of the main goals of viral marketing? Because several goals were mentioned in the lecture. So here you just have to point out to one of them specifically, to get customer to talk to each other about a product. And that is exactly what the lecture said, right? So remember, for this type of question, you have to mention exactly what the listening passage said. Of course, sometimes you are not going to use the same words, because if you think about this one, for example, the way that the phrase is organized is very similar to the one used in the lecture. But sometimes you're going to find that the lecture said the same thing with different words. But just because here it is with different words, it doesn't mean, okay, think about it, doesn't mean that it is the wrong answer. The correct response always expresses the same information, maybe with different words, but it doesn't mean that it's incorrect just because it has different words. If it expresses the same information that the lecture mentioned, fantastic, that is the correct response. The other ones to increase the number of ways that people encounter advertisements was simply not mentioned, right? In the lecture, it is never described how people encounter advertisements or things of that sort. To improve public opinion of companies' marketing strategies, not actually discussed in the lecture, right? I think it was irrelevant for the professor what people thought about marketing strategies, right? So those are incorrect responses. Number 3, what can be inferred about how the internet has affected viral marketing? And here you also got it correctly. Viral marketing has become a more attractive strategy for companies. And here it is important to know why this is the correct answer. There was a particular part in the lecture, if you remind, when the professor discussed the effect or the impact the internet had on this particular type of marketing. And he said that because of new technologies, because of this new globalization with regard to internet and the connection that exists between people, now, of course, it is way easier to make a viral campaign with just a little bit of resources and, of course, connection to internet. So, of course, if the professor argues that there is something positive with regard to the impact of internet on this particular type of marketing, of course, you can infer that it has become more attractive for companies to use this strategy after internet arrived to our lives. So, as I say, an inference is basically a conclusion you can make whenever you are justified in the information you received in the passage. And in this case, you received very good information saying that internet was positive for this type of marketing because it made it easier for companies to access a lot of people with few resources. So what can you infer of that? Well, that it became more attractive, of course, for companies to use this strategy. The other ones are simply conclusions that are not warranted nor justified in the passage. Viral marketing has become more effective in smaller communities than in larger ones. There's nothing in the passage that suggests to you this is true. Companies have become more deceitful in their advertising claims. Not at all, right? Nothing is discussed about the morality or, let's say, ethical issues of companies with regard to this. Not at all. Next. Which of the following are mentioned in the discussion as examples of viral marketing on the internet? Fantastic. This was also a detailed question. You have to remember what the passage said. And in this case, if you pay attention, well, it gave 2 examples, giving a customer a link to a website that they can choose to share with friends, or a car company putting an article about its safety measures onto a news website. This is the only information and the only examples that the reading passage gave for this particular topic. Examples of viral marketing on the internet. There you are. Question 5. According to the professor, why are contests one of the most common forms of viral marketing? They make the best use of modern technology. This was not actually the correct response, right? But it doesn't matter because remember, we are practicing and it's okay. Let us make these mistakes now so that we don't commit them later in the exam. So the correct response was they succeeded in getting people to talk about a product. And I think that if you remember, the professor said this very much exactly as it is stated here, because he said, right, the point the point of all this strategy is to make people comment, to talk to their friends. Hey, have you listened about this contest? Hey, did you see this on the website? Did you see this advertisement? Did you see this new car? Did you see this new product? So he says, right, the thing or the objective is to have people talking to their friends about this. So yeah, certainly because the professor said that this is again basically a detailed question, they succeeded in getting people to talk about a product. That was the correct answer. They make the best use of modern technology. Maybe this is a correct inference. Maybe you are thinking, well, certainly, because now we use internet, we are making a good use of technology. And yes, that's true. But remember, what is the criteria you should use here? What did the passage say? The passage didn't say that viral marketing was the best use of modern technology. So because it didn't say that in this case, you don't have to, of course, choose that particular option because you're looking for what the passage said. This is a detailed type of question. And when you have a detailed type of question, you are centered, focused on what the passage said. And because it didn't say this, you cannot go for this one. But the second one, yes, because the professor specifically said the reason why we do this is to have friends talking to friends about a product, about a company, about something special that is selling things, right? They are to create and maintain. Certainly, this could be true, but is this mentioned in the lecture? That is the question you have to ask yourself. Is this mentioned in the lecture? And I think that if you ask this question to yourself for this particular option, you can say no, because they never mention if they are easy to create or maintain or anything. They just say that now it made things for viral marketing easier, but not if they are easy to create or maintain, anything of that sort. Finally, number 6. Listen again to this part of the lecture. So let us listen just one more time.
Listen again.
Well, yes. What you're describing.
Why does the professor say this?
Well, yes. What you're describing is, it's a form of viral marketing.
Okay, so as you can see, what you say is a form of viral marketing. So he's confirming that the student has correctly identified one type of viral marketing. So in this case, you went for C. He wanted the student, I'm sorry, to describe a different type of viral marketing. So if you think about it, it is not this, in this case, the correct response, because the professor actually asks the student not to say something different, but to be more specific, right? He says, yes, but could you be more specific about what you mean? He says, yes, you are right. There is a form of viral marketing, but could you be more specific? So when he says, could you be more specific? He's confirming that he was right. Hey, you're right, but can you be more specific? Can you mention something a little bit more detailed? That is all he's saying, right? So in this case, he's confirming that the student has correctly identified one type of viral marketing. B is also not true because he feels the student is describing a very uncommon form of viral marketing. Nothing in his words suggests that, well, the student said something very weird. No, he says, yes, you are right. Could you be more specific? That doesn't say that it is uncommon or something. No, not at all. One, he's surprised that the student only mentioned one type of viral marketing. Not at all, right? He doesn't say anything about quantity or number. Fantastic. So let's move on to the second lecture, or in this case, it's a conversation, and we're going to respond more questions. Okay, let's go now.
Listen to a conversation between a student and his advisor at the Career Development Office.
Hi, I'm here to discuss my summer plans.
Well, you've come to the right place. What's on your mind, Evan?
I've decided I want to apply for an internship this summer. I mean, I'm not going to settle for another menial job like working at fast food restaurants or making copies and filing briefs at my dad's law firm. I mean, I want to do something meaningful this year that's connected to my studies and that will give me a jump start finding a position related to my major once I graduate.
You know, I really wish more students would come to see us this early in the spring semester. Now, let's see here. Your file indicates you're working on a dual major in environmental economics and Arabic. So, are you looking for something in the environmental field or something to improve your fluency in Arabic?
Both, actually, and I think I found the perfect place for me, an environmental advocacy group that does a lot of work overseas, including the Middle East.
Wow, that's great. Oh, I can see why this organization would appeal to you. But are you certain it offers summer internships?
Absolutely. I checked their website. They're looking for students to do research for scientists working on position papers for United Nations Summit on climate change next fall.
Okay. So it sounds like this internship would provide an appropriate and valuable experience. Well, you should go for it.
But can I earn college credit for it? That's the big issue I wanted to go over with you.
It's possible, yes. You should consider enrolling in the university's experiential internship class. You could do the internship and the class at the same time this summer.
I'm not familiar with that class. Will it help me with this particular internship in any way?
No, not really. The class has nothing to do with specific internships. Instead, well, it helps students participating in all types of internships learn how to do useful things, like how to succeed in a workplace environment and like how to make plans for future career development. And it lets students earn that academic credit.
That sounds interesting, I guess. I'd love that academic credit for my work, that's for sure. And I mean, I will need help figuring out how to get the most out of the internship. But,
I sense some hesitation. Are you concerned about the class for some reason?
well, the advocacy group's headquarters are located in my hometown, not near the university. And I live in another state. Its location was one of the reasons I was attracted to the opportunity, since it means I can live at home. But can I enroll in the class if my internship is based so far away from campus?
I see. Okay, at last we come to the crux of the matter. No, you really can't. You could watch the class lectures online, but you couldn't enroll as a student, I'm afraid.
So, do I have to pick an internship closer to the state university campus? If I want to enroll in that class and get college credit, that is.
Well, in fact, you have two other options for earning university credit while working at an out-of-state internship. You can see if your advisor or one of your professors is willing to sponsor you. And the two of you would work out a contract in which you commit to certain goals for the summer, and then your internship sponsor at the company would sign the agreement.
Well, that doesn't sound too onerous. I'm sure Dr. Sullivan or Dr. Abood would be willing to sponsor me, but you said there's another option?
Oh, right. Well, you could also check out universities or community colleges in your hometown. Perhaps one of them offers a comparable program. You would just then have to transfer the credits from that course, so they apply toward your graduation credits here at State University.
Thanks, Mrs. Foster. I guess I should look into both opportunities to figure out which one will work best for me.
There you are. Very good. So now that we have listened to this one, let's go with the questions. As you can see, in this case, the material was different. We had a conversation instead of a lecture. So let's see how can we apply the same criteria into this type of questions. Let's go. Okay, robust. All right, so this one is for Guadalupe again. Guadalupe, please, could you comment on your response?
Number 3.
Number 3, fantastic. Paulina, number 2 is going to be for you. So please read and respond. Paulina, please let us know your response.
And number 3.
Number 3, fantastic. All right. Third one will be for Lucia. So please start here, Lucia. There you are, fantastic. Please go ahead, dear Lucia.
Number 3.
All right. But notice, please, that in this case, you have to choose 2 different answers. Remind? Okay. Which one else?
And 4.
Right, 4. Very good, fantastic, thank you. Okay, we come back to Guadalupe, but in this time, you have to listen to a recording of the passage, okay? Guadalupe, so please let us listen all together.
Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
But can I enroll in the class if my internship is based so far away from campus?
I see. Okay, at last we come to the crux of the matter. No, you really can't.
What does the counselor imply when she says this?
Okay, at last we come to the crux of the matter.
Okay, so please, Guadalupe, now start reading and responding the question. There you are. Guadalupe, please.
The last one.
The last one, fantastic. And I think that this is the last question. And again, we have the option to listen to part of the lecture. Oh, conversation in this case, right? Let's go and listen together.
Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
Well, that doesn't sound too onerous. I'm sure Dr. Sullivan or Dr. Abood would be willing to sponsor me, but you said there's another option?
What can be inferred about the student when he says this?
Well, that doesn't sound too onerous.
All right. Paulina, this will be for you. So please start reading and responding now. There you are. Paulina, do you have a correct response?
I'm not sure. I think it's number 1.
Number 1, fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's go and check out your responses, okay? Let's see. Okay, let's see. And here and here and there you are. So what are the speakers mainly discussing? So I think this question is very interesting because certainly there are a lot of things mentioned in this discussion or conversation between the speakers. But if you think about it, there is something that was constantly mentioned. And that thing that was constantly mentioned was academic credits. If you listen to the conversation very carefully, there was something that was always in their mouths. Academic credits, academic credits. Can I earn academic credits? Can I transfer my academic credits? Is that going to be transferable? Can that be part of my credits? That credit will help for your graduation. I mean, every single time they were mentioning this and this and this over again and over again and over again. Now, that is a good indicator. When there is a particular phrase or word during the entire conversation that is repeated a lot of times, you think, okay, but why are they mentioning this very much if it is not the main idea or what they are mainly discussing? So I think that is a very good hint. Now, of course, if you think about it and you compare this response with the other ones, for example, requirements for applying for off-campus summer internships is not actually the correct response, the first one, right? Because the student was well aware of the requirements he needed. So that was not actually a very, very important topic of discussion. If it was mentioned, it was very brief because the student had almost already decided what he wanted to do. And the only thing he wanted to know was if that activity going off campus for making an internship would be helpful for him to obtain credits. Now, the second one, for example, benefits of participating in local versus overseas internships is not actually that true, right? Because they're never making a comparison as such. The only thing that they compare between local and external or exterior internships is with regard to how much credits can the student earn with those particular internships. Because if the student goes to an outside internship, no credits are going to be added to his curriculum. But nonetheless, if he stays, excuse me, at the university or nearby the university, those credits are going to be counted towards his curriculum. So, but any other benefits or disadvantages are not actually mentioned or discussed, right, in the lecture. And the third one, the students' ambivalence about the value of summer internships is not actually true because they were not talking about if he was consistent or not with his decision to go to this program outside the state. What they were discussing was if it was possible to earn credits for his curriculum or for his particular internships in the future or works in the future by earning, as I say, credits with this internship. So the correct response is the fourth one, because as I say, when comparing this one with the other ones are simply not mentioned. And certainly, as I told you, I think that the word academic credits are always in their mouths, like every single time. Is that part of the academic credits? Can I get academic credits because of that? Is that gonna give me academic credits for my graduation? Like every single time, right? They're talking about that. So whenever you get that, okay, whenever you see, oh, they are discussing and talking about this word very much, oh, that is a very good indicator, let me tell you, and that is the correct response, okay? What about this one? What is the experiential internship class? In this case, it is a specialized university class that helps the students participating in internships. This is the correct answer because the professor specifically said, if you remember, that this particular internship class or experiential internship class did not help students to know how to get, let's say, internships or opportunities in different companies or places. But the only thing that it teaches is how to survive and succeed in the labor environment. That is to say, how to be a good worker, how to, well, to relate with your colleagues, how to maybe go to and ask for, I don't know, for information, and how to relate with your boss, all those things, right? How to succeed in your labor environment. So if you remember that, that is basically the same as saying is a specialized university class that helps students participating in internships, because the aim of this course was to teach them how to succeed, right, in a labor environment. And that is exactly what you mean when you say helping students participating in internships, right? Because they are trying to succeed in this labor environment. And how do they do that? By internships, right? So this was the correct answer. And a specialized university class for students who have completed an internship was not correct, because they were looking for internships, right? And the third one, a specialized university class that helps the students choose appropriate internships, was not actually true, because as I say, the only thing that the professor mentioned about this class was that it taught the students how to succeed at their labor environment, but not how to choose them or how to pick up the one that corresponds to them a little bit better. Okay, so that is the correct response. Let's see number 3. According to the student, why has he chosen the particular internship he describes to the counselor? Choose 2 answers. And here we have the internship is pertinent to his dual major. And here, okay, I think that you got it pretty well. Yes, it was pertinent to his dual major, and that is exactly what he said. And the second one was that the internship is located in his hometown, right? He wanted to be nearby his friends, to his family. He mentioned this, if you remember, right? He talked about this, how he wanted to come back to his roots. Of course, as I say, not with the same words, but if you pay attention, he mentioned, right, how he wanted to come back to his hometown and to stay there because he was located nearby his hometown where he lived and where he grew up. So as I say, this type of responses that are for detailed questions not necessarily have to use the same words, but if you get the idea, the same information, and it is expressed through the response, it is correct one. The fourth one, for example, is incorrect because the student never said anything with regard to a trip to the Middle East, right? He never said that traveling to the Middle East was actually possible in this internship he was about to get, but that it was just out of the state or out of this university or far away from the university for him to take the class and to also take the internship, right? So, but he didn't mention he didn't mention any travel to other continents as the Middle East is. So in this case, that wouldn't be the correct response. All right, fantastic. Number 4, listen again to this part of the conversation. And I think that, well, we got it pretty well here. Let's see.
Listen again to
And
what does the counselor imply when she says this?
okay, at last we come to the crux of the matter.
Yes. Well, she's basically saying in Spanish, oh, al fin, no? Al fin, entendí. So basically, yes, the students' reasons for concern have been unclear. That is to say that the person who was helping this student for a while didn't understand pretty well what was the purpose of this visit to her, because the student was a little bit, unclear and, let's say, a little bit ambiguous with regard to his intentions of asking, hey, can I do this while I do this, right? And that was the question he always wanted to make, but he didn't know how to express it maybe, or it was just that he didn't mention it very clearly, right? So now when she says this, hey, finally we come to the end of the matter, when she's saying, oh, I think, right? So the student's reasons for concern have been unclear, right? That is the reason. I think it's very rational to infer this, right? Because the other options, the counselor is impatient with the student. She didn't say, for example, come on, hurry up, or finally, I have been bored of listening to your speech or to your conversation, right? No, she didn't say that. Or the student's choice of internship is inappropriate. She's not, for example, recommending him to choose something else, something like, hey, have you thought about it for a while? I mean, are you sure? Have you meditated this for a long time? Is this going to be good for you? She doesn't say that, right? So she's not somehow suggesting to the student that his choice was inappropriate or something. Third, the counselor is impressed with the student, no, because she didn't say something like, oh, wow, fantastic, or yes, you're right, right? She's not expressing something like emotion or let's say she's not impressed in any sense, because she's not demonstrating any type of value appreciation, not at all. Final question. Listen again to the part of the conversation. Let's listen.
Listen heard about the student can be inferred about the student when he says this.
Well, that doesn't sound too onerous.
Right? Okay, now why is this the correct response? The correct response is this one, because if you remember, I mean, I told you this, right? The reason why they give you, let's say, a large part of the recording first, before you get into your specific and very short sentence that the question is asking you for, they give you that particular long part because they want you to listen the context and remember the particular part in the lecture when the student or the professor said something. So if you remember, for example, the context here, right after the students, right after the student mentions this particular phrase, he says the
Listen
following.
again to
Listen.
question.
Well, that doesn't sound too onerous.
But listen to what he says now. Listen.
I'm sure Dr. Sullivan or Dr. Abood would be willing to sponsor me, but
right? I mean, that doesn't seem so honorable to me. I'm sure Professor blah, 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 and Professor blah, blah, blah would be glad to help me. So he's basically saying that is not honorable, or that is not honorous, because it would be too easy for him to ask these professors to collaborate with him. And he's implying that, hey, come on, if I choose this one, I think it's not going to be that difficult. And therefore, maybe I think he's also implying here that he doesn't want that particular option because it doesn't meet his expectations of difficulty, maybe, or it doesn't meet his honor. That is to say, he wants to maybe he wants to strive for this, and he considers this to be too easy or something. But the point is that he's saying, right, he thinks he will not have trouble finding teachers to work with him, because when he says that is not onerous, I can find these professors easily, right? So he's saying basically, I'm not going to have any trouble to have my teachers working with me, because if I say to this person or to this professor, work with me, he will say yes. And if I say to this other one, work with me, he will say yes. So he's saying, well, I'm not going to have any trouble finding teachers to work with me. So that doesn't seem to be very much adequate, because I have some advantages, let's say, or that would be too easy for me to do this option, right? He seems to suggest that for him, that is not correct, because it will be too easy for him or something. I don't know what particular intention he has, but in this case, the correct response is this one, because he's implying he doesn't have any trouble finding teachers to work with him. The second one, he's relieved that the process is easier than the woman first described. In this case, this is not the correct answer, because he's not talking about the process of how to get into the internship, right? He is talking about the options he has for obtaining credit, about or with regard to the internship, and not talking about how to get it. And the third one, he's defensive about the idea of working at out-of-state internship. It's actually not true as well, because it's not very, let's say, effective in this case, because he's not defensive. That is to say, he's not arguing that his previous idea was the correct one and the only one could be happening. Okay, very good. So, dear students, I want to send right now to the WhatsApp group something that I know that you will appreciate. Look at your chat box, all right, in the WhatsApp group, and you're going to find the following. I'm sending to you, all right, something that is called Practices for the Listening Section App. I sent to the WhatsApp group yesterday a list of material that is free and I found on the internet that you can use for practice, but that list was too limited. I decided to look for more material that is free, and I'm sending it to you right now. So please, for this weekend, you have a lot of material to practice with. Get into your computer, take a piece of paper with you, and listen to the exercises. They basically follow the same mechanism. They give the responses, they give you the questions, and at the end, you're gonna find the correct responses. So practice everything, practice the 3 lectures and practice the 2 conversations. And what you're going to come up with is that you're going to be able to practice the entire section and then to compare your responses with the correct ones in order to see if you are right. All right. So is there any question, dear students, any commentary? Anything that you would like to ask or add?
No, teacher.
We're fine. Okay. Thank you, Paulina. All right. Fantastic. So let me please stop the class here. I'm going to, please, dear students, help me with the traditional poll, okay, that we always fill. You know that you help me a lot, okay, by filling it positively. So please look at your screen, help me with that as I take your assistance so that you can later receive your certificate. Here we are. So it's here present, where is this? Is here present, is here present Guzman Guadalupe?
Present.
Thank you very much, Guadalupe. All right, Natalie, not here. She's not here. Grados Lucia. Okay, I know La Lucia is here. Don't worry, Lucia. I know that you're here. Reyes Camila. Okay.
Present.
Thank you very much, Camila. Thank you. What about Paulina Jasmine?
Present.
Thank you very much. Okay, and there we are. So thank you very much, dear students, for having joined me. I think it was a wonderful class. We have been preparing ourselves a lot. Please enjoy the material. See you this Monday. And please, if you have any question, get in touch with me. All right. See you next time. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you.